Hey everyone, welcome to the Nintendo Prime Podcast. I am your host as always, Nathaniel Rufflejans, joined by Mr.
Eric Moore.
And we have a special guest this week, one of our $20 patrons. It's none other than Corey.
Hello.
And if you hear a dog chirping in, what's the dog's name?
Lola.
Okay, Lola. So Lola's like the fourth guest that's every now and then probably going to remind us that she's here. That's just the thing. Won't see her on screen, but you know what? Her presence is felt.
Yes.
She should quiet down soon, hopefully.
I hope so. Anyways, this is episode 96 of the Nintendo Prime Podcast. I want to thank all of you guys for coming in, all of our patrons for supporting and making this possible, making this a weekly thing. You can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. Lots of perks, including being able to watch the podcast early as we record it, being able to listen to the audio version early, being able to be on a podcast like Mr. Corey is. He's one of our $20 backers. All right, let's just get into this. We have like a lot of like numbers to get through today. I don't know how many of the numbers we're gonna go through. I mean, all the hardware and software for Switch for sure. So this is actually being recorded immediately after Nintendo's investor briefing all wrapped up, both the public release of the numbers and then their actual meeting with investors. So they had a Q&A section, which Q&A section, from what we have seen at least so far that we're aware of, there'll be an official release of this like next week for us to check out. But all the interesting stuff that we heard from it, it wasn't really too interesting, but we'll go over that after we get through the numbers because a lot of it is dealing with things that are happening in the future. So the big deal, I guess, to start out with is actually, let's not even talk about the hardware first, because hardware is going to move because of the software, right? Like that's generally how it works. So the software numbers are a little insane. I don't even know. I do have it. Okay, yeah. All right, so let's just go to Corey, because you're the one that really wanted to be on this particular podcast to talk about this stuff. What impressed you the most about these numbers? Because we have numbers for, what is it, like 12 games?
I think the two that obviously jump out would be Smash and Pokemon Let's Go. I think of those two, probably the one that just absolutely floored me more was Let's Go at 10 million.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
especially with all the hate that game was getting.
Yeah, and it looked like, it had that 3 million thing at launch, but then you're like, well, okay, we didn't really hear anything about it after launch, so we weren't really sure where that game was sitting. It sounded like it was disappointing in terms of sales. It really dropped off in Japan, but apparently, just because it dropped off in Japan doesn't mean it dropped off anywhere else. That thing moved 10 million units. And it did that in about 6 weeks, which is really, really good. In similar quarters for other Pokemon games, it actually finished a smidge behind Pokemon X and Y, which that's a really popular selling game in the series. Notable for X and Y that it actually had an entire extra month worth of data. So it's possible, if you actually look at the cumulative days on the market, that it might actually be right there with X and Y. But X and Y performed better in Japan, whereas Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee performed better out west. And then there was some other interesting numbers too, like it did outsell ORAS, another remake. So it did outsell that in the similar time period, because that sold about 9.4 million, and this obviously hit 10. And it basically what this did is, it outsold Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon as well. For those that are curious, that was the last Pokemon game released. That only did about 7 million in its opening quarter. So the bottom line is that Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee is basically performing right in line with other Pokemon games.
The other thing that sort of jumped out for Let's Go Pokemon or Pikachu and Eevee for me is in its first quarter of sales, it had a little bit less time, about a month less than Odyssey, but it sold about 1 million more units. Granted, it's a little bit bigger install base, but that still seemed very impressive to me as well.
Yeah, and I think the shocking thing to me is, I think most people think the idea of this game is to capture some of that Pokemon Go audience, which is huge in Japan, but it actually kind of underperformed in Japan and overperformed everywhere else.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Overperformed compared to, I guess, expectations from some people.
Right.
The big question is obviously, what are the legs going to be? Does this have a chance to get to 15 million or so before Gen 8 hits? Is Gen 8 going to make this stop selling? Because Gen 8 wouldn't really replace this game, because there's no other game like it in the Pokemon series. So it'll be interesting to see if this has legs here in 2019. It clearly did, last year, but that was opening quarter. What are we going to see for this fourth quarter at Nintendo? Because Nintendo's fiscal year runs, because we're talking about their fiscal year, so their fiscal year runs, now for April, April to the end of March. So right now to the end of March coming up here, meaning that technically the launch sales of Yoshi will be included in this quarter, just the opening sales and not anything past the opening sales. So that's why some people, I'll get into talking about what some people get confused about with Nintendo's fiscal year later, but and I mean we have to talk about Smash because this is 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Eric, how much did it sell in 3 weeks?
Just over 12 million.
12.08 million.
Yeah.
What is happening? That's like 1.5 million short of the best-selling Smash game of all time.
In 3 weeks.
And that was Brawl on the 100 million selling Wii.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, it's the ultimate version of Smash.
Yeah.
So that is a big hype thing for people. Like, oh, there is no Smash game better than this. I feel it's probably the best Smash game, regardless of the gripes I have. But, some people are still gonna have their preferences for how different games played and the speed, or maybe they prefer tripping, or maybe they like different single player modes. Some people actually like tripping.
Who likes tripping? Oh god. Okay. Yeah.
Anyways, that's crazy. No, I mean it's the best. It's the fastest selling Switch game. Period. There hasn't been anything that's moved these kind of numbers in just 3 weeks. It's also the fastest selling exclusive game of all time across all platforms. Nothing comes close. The previous record for launch week was a tie between I think it was actually Spider-Man. Marvel's Spider-Man last year with PlayStation 4, and then an old Halo game from the 360 era also sold through 3.3 in launch week. This sold over 5 million in launch week.
Yeah,
worldwide, and then it didn't stop. That was launch week. It sold an addition. I mean, look at that, an additional 7 million over the next 2 weeks.
Yeah,
how that doesn't happen? Yeah. Games are supposed to be heavy launch, then slow down. This is like heavy launch. We're gonna keep it going.
Heavy first month.
Heavy first 3 weeks, not even a month yet.
Yeah, not even a month.
Not even a full month of data. I'm not like the biggest Smash fan. Are you a part of that 12 million yet?
No, not yet.
So there's room to grow.
There's room to grow. So you tell me there's a chance. No, the one that actually surprises me though with that number is in 3 weeks we can all agree that Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is a big game.
Yeah.
For the Switch.
Yep.
It's outsold that in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Outsold that the total number of Breath of the Wild
launch
sold. It Smash outsold that in 3 weeks.
Now it's not as surprising because Smash does tend to outsell Zelda games, but in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks.
In 3
weeks. Yeah, right. That's the part that
one of the most highly critical games of all time.
I'm not surprised that Smash outsold it. I'm surprised it was this little bit of time compared to the 2 years that Breath of the Wild has had.
Yeah, man.
Looking at the numbers though a little bit, one thing to keep in mind with Breath of the Wild is it's about 500,000 behind what Smash was at the end of December, but that's without accounting for the 2 million or so units of Breath of the Wild that sold over on the Wii U. So Breath of the Wild is probably still a little bit ahead of you.
That's true.
Nobody cares about Wii U. Poor Wii U. I'm so sorry. Yeah. I love that machine, but man.
As you're saying poor Wii U, that was one of the questions I had is where the heck was the Smash fan base on the Wii U?
Nobody bought the Wii U. It's not about the Smash fan base. Yeah. Everyone thought Wii U was an accessory to Wii.
Where was the fan base on the Wii U? Overall.
But here's the thing. There's other numbers too as well. To give you guys another example, another game that came out in this last fiscal quarter was Super Mario Party. That's sold 5.3 million. Where the hell did that come from?
Yeah.
Mario Party games don't sell this well.
Right.
But here's the deal. I'm going down this list, right? Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, I think its numbers are close to, if not already surpassed, what it did on Wii U. Mario Tennis Aces at 2.53 million total is it's one of the fastest selling Mario Tennis Aces games. It's already in the top 3, I think. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is well on pace to become the best selling Mario Kart game ever released. Breath of the Wild, just on Switch alone, not even counting Wii U, is massively the best selling Zelda game ever. Super Mario Odyssey just passed. Super Mario Odyssey is at 13.76 million. It just passed Galaxy, which was one of the best-selling 3D Mario games of all time. It just passed that. Splatoon 2, 8.27 million units. That's almost a 100% growth over the Wii U one. Like, what is happening? Okay, Octopath Traveler. Now, this only is in the West. They published it in the West. Sold 1 million in the West. New IP. Square published it in Japan, so you have to kind of dig around to find the exact numbers. I think it was pretty close to 2 million overall, but
still, that's pretty decent though.
And like, you just go
That's
on.
better than Xenoblade.
Yeah. And even
there you go.
Xenoblade Chronicles 2, right? Xenoblade Chronicles 2, last data I saw was about 1.5 million. It's probably a little bit higher than that now, but not, there weren't a significant number sold here for Nintendo to report on it. Because they were just reporting on the top 12 selling games from the last, or from the entire fiscal
We got
year
10
so
on here.
far. What?
10 on here.
Oh,
It's 10.
is it only 10?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, 10. So yeah, they just did the top 10 from the last fiscal year. So yeah, I'm sure more of that sold, but that game is massively the best-selling game in the Xenoblade Chronicles series. Like, none of the other ones even crossed 1 million, and it's at 1.5 last I checked. So the bottom line is,
At what point in time do we start calling it the Switch effect?
that's the thing. I've been noting this for a little while now, and I have no answer. Every game that comes out on Switch and an IP starts becoming the fastest and best-selling in that entire
And
IP.
that's the question. Is it the best game of that IP, or is it just the fact that it's the Switch, and it's portable, it's home console, it's basically everything in one.
But let's think about it. We haven't gotten to the Switch numbers yet, but there's only about 32 million of them out there, and he's doing these numbers.
Right.
What is happening? I mean, no, it's not near like the Wii Sports and all that stuff of the world during that generation, but those were very generational specific games. Whereas these are games that they could have been on Wii U. One of them literally was on Wii U.
Right.
Like, they could have been on PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. They're not like the kind of games where you're like, oh, they have to be on a Switch to be successful. But yet, something about Switch, only like 30 plus million units out there, and I mean, look at these attach rates. Think about it. There's like 32 million. Smash is in 1/3 of those.
And I mean,
Over 1/3.
just under half have Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pokemon Let's Go is in
Oh,
basically in 1/3. Zelda's over 1/3. Odyssey's over 1/3. Well over 1/3.
I mean,
That's almost at half.
We're right at a third.
Mario Kart 8's almost a coin toss if somebody has it on their Switch.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Just under half. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is what is going. I can't explain it. Like, I know why I love Switch, but the thing is, like, yeah, I bought all these games. I don't think there's a game on this list I didn't buy. Nope, I bought them all. But here's my thing. I'm a big Nintendo fan, so I bought them all on Wii U too, and on Wii, and like I enjoy these games. So I'm not really the reason these things are selling. Well, what is making new players come and pick all this stuff up? Because that's what's happening. We're getting new players.
Right. And apparently a ton of them.
I have only one prevailing theory.
Yeah.
You guys want to hear it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, my only theory I have. Switch is doing something I don't think Nintendo's ever done. If you guys remember at launch, we've talked about this in the past, how much it was appealing to adults, especially busy adults that don't have, young adults that are busy, that might not have kids. Even if they do have kids, it's not a huge deal. They're just really busy and they can't sit in front of their TVs all the time, or their TV's always occupied. And Switch kind of came at a time that it was like perfect because people are always on their mobile phones, but it's not exactly the perfect gaming experience. It's okay. And Switch is like, yeah, well, we're going to give you something that feels familiar, but physical controls and all of our IP. And every commercial is going to be about young adults having fun and blah, blah, blah. And I know there's been some family commercial sense. In fact, Nintendo Labo, even though Nintendo said it underperformed their expectations, they also said they have shifted what they're doing with it. Apparently, it's in 100 elementary schools now. So that's what I said. That's what I told. Yeah. That's what I'm like. It should have been. That should have been the goal from day one, was get in schools, then come. Anyways, whatever. Nintendo's doing it anyways, so it's getting there. But
and if you go deep on, the listing of the $1 million sales, the Labo Variety Kit is actually past 1 million units already.
Yep. Well, the thing is, like when Nintendo talks about it underselling, like they thought it was going to be Wii Sports. They thought this thing was going to be massive, and it turns out that like it's doing well. But if it would have been a Zelda game, it would have did way better.
No.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that's like the games that are all selling. These are gamer games. These are games that like people who play games care about. And I think the point I was getting at is Nintendo has always been family friendly, always, even back on the NES. You know, like they had M-rated games. They've had M-rated games forever. You know, they originally were trying to tell third parties to censor their gore, but then they stopped doing that at some point in the 90s. But they still weren't letting every game. Like Night Trap wasn't allowed in the infamous suit that was happening that ESRB rating was formed. The thing is Nintendo's always carried that family-friendly reputation. So they've always been like, this system's for kids. They've always like every system they've ever released, regardless of what people want to claim, they've always targeted at kids. And then kids would just grow up and keep playing Nintendo platforms. Right. And that's just the way it was. That's the way gaming in general was, really. It was, and then PlayStation came around, and they kind of made gaming seem cool and went after teenagers. Whereas Nintendo was still like, let's get them in early, and then they'll grow up with us. And they just kept doing that. Then GameCube felt like a little bit more of a grown-up system. But then, like, lunch pail design,
right.
Like, very much still, like, oh, we're still appealing to the kids on the playground. They're going to carry this over to their friend's house on sleepovers. And it's like...
The bright colors, too.
Yeah, and bright colors.
Right?
Like, they still were... Even though they had, you know, what some people consider some of their most hardcore games out there, it's still like, yeah, but their games have always been for everyone. Like, even Twilight Princess that came out, you know, that and launched for Wii, like, yeah, it targeted an older audience, but a lot of kids played it, too. So... They've always kind of been that way. So, like, when the Wii thing happened, like, they're just like, oh, well, then what about the Wii? It's like, okay, the Wii was Blue Ocean because it wasn't just about the kids anymore. They went after families in particular. Families. We want families. Because, you know what's bigger than just a kid audience? An entire family. And if we can get families into it, that means you get parents into it. That means it explodes. And that's what happened. Brilliant piece of launch software, and they just kept it going for as long as, at least Nintendo could keep it going for, I guess. The difference now is with this like at one point, the last time I heard stats from Nintendo, and this was a long time ago, it was like 88% of Switch owners, this was back in 2017, were over the age of 18. Now, I don't know what the percentage is today. Nintendo, I was hoping they'd give an update here, but I didn't hear an update during their investor stuff or see it in their data, so I don't have an update on that. But still a majority of the commercials are targeted towards young adults. Everyone I ever see play a Switch, unless it's my own kids, are adults. Like, I'll go out to the mall now, and I'll be literally in the kid play area where my kids are playing, and I see other parents playing on a Switch. The thing is, I think the reason the sale...
I saw a Switch in the wild, and it was actually a kid who was playing it.
Nice. That's good.
Yeah.
Like kids want it now because it's a hip, cool thing.
Yeah.
They see adults and young adults like, oh, we got to have it.
Yeah.
Like, that's why kids like playing Call of Duty and, you see these young adults playing, like, well, we got to do it. It's hip and cool. And that's what's happening with Switch. So what happened is you have a primarily, or at least a huge chunk of young adult gamers that are fiscally irresponsible in general, usually. They're in college. They're not worried about things. I mean, they're worried about life, but they're not worried about, like, long-term debt or anything.
Yeah, money will come
they're not even worried about their student loans until they actually graduate and then realize, oh, crap.
Worry about your student loans.
Better yet, just work 4 jobs and go to school part-time and don't ever get them.
Yeah, there's that, too.
But it might take you a decade, but whatever. Anyways, sorry. That's personal advice. So the bottom line is that I think the games are selling so well. My only theory is because so many adults own it. Adults are the ones with disposable income. And now you gave us time to play because it's portable. Yeah. Ergo, we're just going to buy everything. Everything Nintendo brings out, we're going to buy it.
I still think we need to coin it and call it the Switch effect.
Well, because if you think about it, like in the past, all the systems were targeted at kids. So what do kids have to do? Ask their parents.
Yes.
Right? Or save their allowance. Whereas young adults, oh, geez, new game comes out tomorrow. Let me just get out the old credit card. Let me just dip into that $2,000 that was sent to my bank account from student loans. Yeah. You know, from the grant money or whatever for living expenses, and just go buy. Like, I think it's gotten to that point where the audience is an audience that has disposable income, and they're choosing to buy everything Nintendo puts out there because they think it looks awesome and fun. Part of it is probably nostalgia, where some of these games, you know, they remember from when they were kids. And some of it is just a new audience where they're like, hey, like, everyone else is playing this, so why don't I? That's the only theory. The only theory I have.
Sorry.
It's probably wrong, but
You're saying but everything Nintendo puts out, but we don't have as concrete sort of sales numbers with some of the third-party stuff.
they said, well, the only thing we know is that third-party sales have tripled year over year. Nintendo stated that, but they can't actually give us the numbers.
And that's where I was going to go, is that the third party seem to be doing very well on the Switch too, because if they weren't doing well, the support would be sort of dwindling off like we saw on the Wii U happen, whereas it seems to be ramping up, so they must be getting pretty good sales on the titles they're putting out.
Well, it's always about what's considered pretty good sales for a third party. Like, what are they looking at? Because NBA 2K19 didn't chart anywhere for Switch. It was literally like top 6 overall last year on other platforms. Didn't even chart for Nintendo. So is pretty well. It sold 500K. Well, it sold 3 million on the other platforms.
At the same point in time,
it's a what is really good.
When you have Let's Go Pikachu, Smash Brothers, Zelda, Odyssey. It's kind of hard to crack on a Switch.
Yeah, but you're talking
Trending.
about a majority of these games were games that came out in 2017 and we're in 2019.
Yeah, they're still selling.
Well, I know that's the point. People are buying the. This is the point I made in a video that people got mad at me about the AAA support. It's like, yeah, it's ramping up, it's there, but people aren't buying it because of those games. Look at the data. They're buying it. Look at this. They're buying it because of all these Nintendo games. It's crazy. These numbers. I don't have any other explanation other than young adults, disposable income, buying everything.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's great or not. I mean, Mario Tennis Aces is not one of the best Mario Tennis games ever. It's a hell of a lot better than Ultra Smash, but I mean, these people didn't know about Ultra Smash because they didn't buy it. Wii U, so it doesn't matter. So but it's not as good as the old Mario Tennis Aces game. Got way less content. Don't matter. Super Mario Party. Yeah, it's better than Mario Party 10, but it's got way less content than Mario Party 5. Don't matter. They buy it anyways.
Yeah.
At 5.3 mil. Jesus. That was almost the most shot. Like, okay, I was shot by Smash, but I knew coming into this Smash sold well, right? Like, we heard record-breaking data and all this stuff being reported. Pokemon Let's Go was shocking. I thought it might have 6 million. It hit 10. But, like, Super Mario Party, I did not see 5.3. It's a game no one talks about. 5.3 million?
Yeah.
That's definitely got to be the young adult effect right there. Kids hanging around in dorms or whatever. The Switches, 5.3, it's an easy game.
Party
to
game.
pick it up.
It's a good party game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I remember when I was younger in the dorms, we used to do Mario Party drinking games. I mean, we also had Smash the drinking game. That's just been around forever. But, man.
We need carnival games, drinking games.
Oh, carnival games.
Oh, Lord.
I really shouldn't say anything. I had a sponsored video by them, so don't want to get 2K too mad at me about it. I mean, don't be wrong. I will say this about carnival games, and I think I said it in that video. It's a game my 3-year-old can play, and there's very few games like that. So
there you go.
it's like one button and the joystick, and that's it. Most games you just play with the button.
Yeah.
So, but yeah,
That's sort of also the same idea as Mario Kart. Yeah, you give somebody the Joy-Con, you turn sideways, and away they go.
well, yeah. I always felt the ability to do tabletop mode and take off the Joy-Cons and have instant multiplayer. That I always felt that was more of a kid thing. One, because the controllers are small, so it just makes more sense for smaller hands.
Yeah.
And two, like as an adult, like if Eric and I are on the plane, we're just gonna look at each other. Oh, you got Smash, I got Smash. Let's play local play. Like we're not gonna like split Joy-Cons off and play. We're just gonna play on our own Switches against each other, full screen.
Yeah.
Like, but for kids, they don't care.
Yeah.
They're happy to bust that bad boy out in the playground or the lunchroom.
Their eyes are a hell of a lot better than ours.
Yeah,
too.
that too.
So,
So I always felt that was a good thing for kids, and I think that's another thing about Switch. It's like it had the appeal for adults, but it almost was already purpose built to be able to handle multiple age groups. I mean, people complain that the front of the screen on the Switch is plastic, but that's a durability feature. It is. Drop your phone without a protector on out on cement.
thanks.
Watch what happens. Now drop your Switch. Screen
no
down.
thanks.
Watch what happens. You might get a scratch. It ain't cracking.
Yeah.
Still usable.
You'll probably break your Joy-Con lock, too.
You take your Joy-Cons off first.
yeah, right.
But yeah, it's these numbers.
And that was when you put up a disclaimer, we are not responsible for any dropped Switches.
Man. Is there, Corey? Is there anything? I mean, before we get to Switch hardware, is there anything else in the overall sales data you want to point out and talk about?
Sorry, just pulling my numbers back up here. One thing that we didn't touch on that maybe is worth mentioning is the overall attach rate right now is sitting about 5 titles per console sold.
Yep.
So that pretty much means that somebody who has a Switch probably has Mario Kart, Odyssey, Smash, Breath of the Wild, and one other game based on the overall sales.
Yeah.
Right?
Based on what we're seeing, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and of course, folks, that's an average. Like I have like 40 games or whatever on my Switch. Some people only have 2. I mean, that's just how it goes. But it's interesting, and we also know we just hear these stories all year. The indie games have just been blowing up on the platform. I mean, seeing an indie game over 100K on Switch is like that's almost expected at this point. With almost every major indie game that comes out. Very interested to see how Travis Strikes Again did. I know that was Suda51 really wanted that game to do well, so they could fund No More Heroes 3. I didn't pick it up because I didn't think it looked good. All the reviews say it's not really that good. So I'd love to support games to try to get more games, but it's like I can't support a bad game.
Right.
You know, just put up a GoFundMe and I'll give you money then. I'd rather do that and directly pay for the game, or not like a Kickstarter or something. Something that's holds you a little bit more accountable.
Yeah, because I was going to say, otherwise we're going to end up on
not a GoFundMe. GoFundMe, they could just take your money and
Roller
run.
Coaster Tycoon that was doing that?
Okay, yeah, but they rescinded all that stuff.
Okay, yeah, I know, but still.
As soon as people notice, of course.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we were just testing it. We don't need funding for this game, so why not test it on a game that needs funding?
Yeah, right.
Anyways.
As you're sort of talking about the quality indie games in the Kickstarter, Yooka-Laylee comes to mind and how it was promised for the Wii U, and how it turned out to not be apparently that good a game, and it never did come to the Wii U, even though backers were funding it for that.
Yeah.
Still need to get that
game.
It's a good game.
Unfortunate.
I think it's a good
effect
game.
of the Wii U.
I think it's better than people give it credit for. And you got to remember, like, it's the studio's first game.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, they're just getting their chops together. I didn't think. I honestly thought the game got way more criticism. Is it Odyssey levels good? No, but it's. What indie games are they playing that are just significantly better as a 3D platformer? Mm-hmm. There's hardly any of them. There's hardly any that even exist. Like you can think of platformers that are better, of course, but not 3D ones. I mean, I could be wrong. Sorry, go on.
People's memories are probably a little bit fuzzy of those 3D platformers too. It's probably been 25-ish years since a lot of people played them.
And when you're comparing it to the best of the best Marios still coming out, and then you're like, oh, well, it's not as good as what Banjo used to be. It's like,
that was heyday of the 3D platformers.
Like, yeah, like they're trying to get back to that, and well, you know, I don't know. Anyways.
There was some pretty broken stuff back in Banjo back in the day. The whole stop and swap thing that they never implemented. That was half of the game.
Yeah.
So there's other like interesting notes. Just like if people are like, oh, how much money are they still making on Pokemon Go? You can't tell anymore. They combined the Pokemon Go revenue with the rest of their mobile revenue. So there's no dash line in the expense report that shows off Pokemon Go. Mm-hmm. Just kind of what they decided to do. I guess it makes sense. Originally I understood why they separated it out, because they do not get, you know, all the revenue. You know, it's split up between Niantic, Pokemon Company, Nintendo, etc. But then it didn't make sense because a lot of the revenue is split. Like Dragalia Lost. That revenue doesn't go straight to Nintendo. You know, they get some of it, but not all of it. And any game they release in partnership with Dena, like Dena gets some of the money too. Mm-hmm. So I guess like I think they just Pokemon Go's revenue was just so impressive that the investors like seeing that Pokemon Go revenue. But now they're like, hey, we can just throw it all together. And I mean, it was pretty good. I crunched the numbers. It ended up being for that fiscal quarter, it was 134 million USD they made. So, I mean, that's not small change.
No.
I mean, Nintendo's had years where they made no money in the past and actually lost money. So 134 million of just extra revenue coming in from mobile devices. It was really cool. There's some sad news. Mario Kart Tour was delayed.
Huh.
That was supposed to come out this fiscal year. It's been delayed because they're worried about post-game content. Having enough post-game content. So whatever that's supposed to mean, I don't know if they're planning DLC. We have no idea. We haven't even seen it, so we have no idea what this even means. But they kind of countered that by announcing a new mobile game, Dr. Mario World. They didn't even do this at the investor meeting. They just randomly tweeted this out. Hey, we're making Dr. Mario World. It's like, what?
What?
There's no real details about it either other than coming summer. It's just a logo, coming summer, and then it goes over the history of Dr. Mario. And it's like, one thing I think Nintendo needs to do better of when they announce their mobile games, they need to treat it like Super Mario Run and actually show you the game.
Yeah, right.
They make this big deal out of Mario Kart Tour is coming. Okay, it's been like a year, and we still haven't seen it. Now you delayed it, and we still haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Dr. Mario coming out apparently in the next 6 months could have at least showed us a concept of what you're trying to do. It would have made people get potentially excited for it. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't want to put it in a Nintendo Direct. But that's just me criticizing that. They're not going to treat it like their normal games. I get that, but I mean, God, you could at least show people it when you announce it, a screenshot or something. Mm-hmm. Just a logo. I don't know. I don't know. Other mobile companies actually show you gameplay when they announce. So
I think Dr. Mario coming to mobile is sort of very interesting. As I can't recall the exact sourcing, so
I think it's a brilliant move.
I recall hearing that was one of the most played games on the NES Online service, like the Switch Online.
Yeah,
was Dr. Mario. So it's almost like they're mining the data from there to decide what's possibly coming to mobile.
Well, sure, and it is notable in the thing that they did mention it's going to have microtransactions. So. That's how they're gonna. It's gonna be free to play, but there'll be microtransactions. Don't know what that is. It's a puzzle game, and puzzle games perform phenomenally well on phones. So
and they do phenomenally well with microtransactions.
They do.
Candy Crush
They do. Even like Candy Crush. Oh, millions and millions of people that play it without spending anything. Right? You get your free replays by getting your friends on Facebook to play it, which gets more people to download the app. Blah blah blah. So it's actually kind of like a catch-22 where you're getting more people to play. But some of the even if only 2% of the people you get to pay, when you have a user base of 300 million, that's a lot of money.
Right.
So it's interesting that potentially could be the route here. Like if they go with a life system, and a map where you're going stage to stage, and then you have online multiplayer as well. I'm sure. It'll be really interesting to see how they do that game. I mean, everyone knows how Dr. Mario works, but how does this one differ from what we were playing already on the online service? It'll be interesting to see what they do with that. Another note before we get to Switch hardware is obviously 3DS. It's kind of on the downturn. I don't know how else to say it. It sold 1.31 million hardware units during the quarter. Just under 5 million software. And it has only sold 2.31 million total for the whole fiscal year with 11 million software. I mean, this is a system that was doing 20 mil a year not too long ago.
Right.
And Furukawa himself, during the little presser, noted that 3DS has declined at a faster rate than they anticipated.
Well, and then they're only expecting to sell, 2.6 next year?
That's actually for the rest of this year.
Oh,
there's still 3 more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they're planning for another 300,000 units.
Gotcha.
Or so. But it's funny because Furukawa did the whole Nintendo thing. Yeah, like it's declined at a faster rate than we anticipated. But hey, it's still a great entry level system, and you should go buy it.
Well, obviously,
this to me tells me I think 2019 is it.
Yeah.
I don't think this fiscal year is it. I don't think they're doing 3DS after this year.
Yeah.
And we get into why
it's got it as far as it has.
I mean, 74.84 million, still technically the worst selling handheld system Nintendo's ever released. And that's saying something when you're talking about 74 million units. Lets you know how popular Nintendo's handhelds have always been. But there also might be an additional reason on why 3DS might be on the way out that we'll get into a little later. And I guess this is where we get to where some people look at this next news as good news or bad news, and that is the Switch hardware sales. Corey, what are we looking at for Switch hardware here?
I don't have the exact number in front of me at the second, but I know it was over 32 million, which was...
Yes, 32.27 lifetime to date.
Mm-hmm.
They sold 9.42 million for the quarter.
Yeah.
It's funny. There was an analyst that came out and said that this is extremely disappointing. Because if you remember, analysts were saying 11 mil for the quarter, so 9.42. Like, let's look at this from the cynic side of things. because as a Nintendo fan, I see 32.27 million, 22 months. That's faster than Wii. That's faster than PlayStation 4. How can this be disappointing? The cynic says, well, Nintendo projected 20. They downed their projection to only 17. So they undershot their projection. Analysts projected 11, hit 9.42, couldn't even cross 10 million. It's only at 14.49 million cumulative for the whole year. There is no big games coming out in the next 3 months but Yoshi right at the end. And Yoshi, is that considered a big game? Is that really a system-moving game?
Right.
I don't think most people think that's more than you get a small boost during launch and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yoshi's gonna have somewhere around the Kirby sales, so around 2 million-ish.
Sure, but when Kirby Star Allies came out, the sales of the Switch only rose I think it was like 5.5% across the world. Like, it's not really that big in numbers, especially when Switch numbers were on decline heading into that release.
Mm-hmm.
And what are they going to be doing now? Every month from here until that game comes out, there's nothing. So it's just going to keep declining.
Mm-hmm.
Which happens anyways after holidays, but like there's New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe came out super early in the month, and that's it.
Huh.
There's like nothing worth buying a Switch for. I mean, I don't want to say that because like Wargroove just came out, and like that's, there's some great indie games coming, but there are people that buy Switch for indie games, but at this point, I don't think anyone's waiting to buy a Switch for an indie game. I don't think anyone's looking at the horizon and being like, you know what, that group of indie games over there, that's why I'm going to buy a Switch. If they wanted to get it for indie games, they probably already bought it for all the amazing indie games that are already here.
Right.
So that's the cynic view. Is that the numbers might look impressive if you want to twist it one way because you welcome to stats. You can twist it whatever you want.
Yeah,
but on the other hand, Nintendo said 20 million, and they didn't get it. Isn't this bad?
I think that the estimates are on the analysts that Switch was going to ship about 11 million in the last quarter, and it shipped 9.42. Is that might be an indication that one of those games that were supposed to come out in 2018 has actually slipped out. Because if you look, we had Octopath, I believe, was July, and then we didn't really have anything until Super Mario Party in October. There definitely seemed to be sort of a release gap there. That
sure,
should have
but the 11 million was only for last quarter. That's all the projection was for. It was
But
only
that's why
for
I
Super
wouldn't
Mario
carry
Party,
forward.
Let's Go, and Smash. And we knew Super Mario Party, Let's Go, and Smash was all Nintendo was bringing to the table. We knew that. So the analysts upped their projection to 11 million. It was 7 million originally, but the analysts won't tell you that. They won't remind you that they actually only projected 7 million before it. And then when we got to January, they upped it to 11 because Smash Bros. Was breaking records.
Yeah, right.
So basically, the analysts underprojected, then they overprojected, and now it's all Nintendo's fault.
Yeah, duh.
But I mean, it is true that Nintendo did say 20 million, and they're now only thinking they're going to hit 17.
But actually, that actually, you're 2 million under, 2 million over. You hit the average. That's
but analysts
exactly
don't
right
want to admit that they underprojected ahead of time. That's the way. See, analysts are all about trying to predict the future, right? So they predicted 7 mil, then it came, and they still didn't have the numbers, but they were hearing really good software sales. So like, okay, we probably undershot it. Probably 11. Stock is a buy because when the numbers do hit, it's going to go crazy high. And I don't know what the stock's doing. I didn't check before this the show, but I mean. The bottom line is people are going to rag on the fact that Nintendo kept saying 20, that, they said it was optimistic, and they tried to warn us they might not get it. But they did say 20. They said 20. Furukawa just a week ago said 20 in an interview. And now here we are in the 17. Now, some people do think it's conservative. They think it will hit 18. But, with nothing till Yoshi, I mean, I don't know if that's actually that conservative of a number. Because now you're just relying on spillover sales for 3 months. So,
one thing that we sort of danced around a little bit there is you were talking about how the software was selling way better than expected.
Yep.
And that's actually one thing that Nintendo specifically called out is that software sales outside Japan actually exceeded their expectations.
Yep, and they increased their fiscal year
quarter.
Yep, and they increased their fiscal. So, for those who don't know, the original fiscal year forecast for their software for the entire fiscal year was 100 million units. Now it's at 110 because they're almost at 100 million right now. They're at 94.64 million as of the end of December. Mm-hmm. That's not counting a New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe that came out, or Travis Strikes Again, Yoshi obviously, and any post-holiday sales. So, I mean, basically what Nintendo's telling you is, sure, we underprojected on hardware, but we make more money on software anyways, and our software
Right.
is massively like basically the note to this to investors anyways. Yeah. Look, we overprojected. We got ambitious. We didn't hit our ambitions with the hardware, but the thing we actually make all the money on, we're going 10 mil over. So what are you worried about?
Right.
We would Nintendo's basically trying to tell them we would rather be 10 mil over on software and be slightly short on hardware than hit our hardware and be short on software.
Right.
So that's kind of the message I think they're putting out there. But again, that them undershooting their software shows you not even Nintendo realized that basically everyone's just buying your games when they come out. Just eventually. I mean, is it possible? I'd have to go back and look at all of the sales data from all of the platforms. I wonder if Switch could set a record for the most amount of first-party and second-party Nintendo games cracking 10 million by the time it's all done. Because it's got Pokemon, and we're going to get another Pokemon, and we'll probably get like at least 2 more Pokemon on this platform before it's done. So all of those will go over 10.
Here a little bit. So we got 5.
I mean, there's a chance Super
6
Mario
games
Party.
right now that are. I'm thinking Splatoon 2 is going to cross 10 million before it's done. So
Yeah.
we got 6 games already out. We know that Animal Crossing is probably going to ship 10 million this year.
Yeah, I mean, it did, well, I think 12 million, I think it did on 3DS, so.
That's generally what it trends. It tends to sell better in Japan than the West, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
But it's probably going to do 10 million. And we got Gen 8 Pokemon supposed to come this year. That's easily going to do 10 million.
Yep.
So we have 6 now. Let's give you 2 more. That's going to be 8 already.
And I mean,
that's going to be more than the Wii had at the 10 million.
And like, you know, Super Mario Party by next holiday, is it crazy to think that might creep close? I mean, it's selling better than anyone thought it would.
Right, but yeah.
I mean, there's gonna be a lot of trickle down sales for that. Yeah, the one game that's starting to pick up momentum in Japan is that dang boxing game, fitness boxing.
Oh yeah, interesting.
Yeah, every week it's been out, it's climbed higher on the charts. It's doing the opposite of what's supposed to happen.
Huh.
Why? Because word of mouth is getting around on social media in
That's a
Japan.
good
The
game.
people are losing weight playing the game.
Oh,
And it's like not even that hard of a workout. It's just it's getting you active,
all right.
and it's easier than we fit.
Maybe I need to get it.
I actually think I might. Like once I tax returns come in or everything, probably I'll get back on the shake diet, get like a month's supply of that, and then pick that up and maybe make that part of the workout regime. We can do it together for crying out loud. Look ridiculous together. It's okay.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't think it was actually going to be that effective, but apparently it is. So, but again, I don't think that's got a chance at 10. I mean, it gaining momentum every week in Japan. I mean, momentum's like going from 3,000 units to 4,000 units to 5,000. Like, if it doesn't get momentum in the West, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
But I mean, I'm just like, looking at this. I mean, Mario Tennis Aces isn't going to cross 10.
Yeah, I don't think Mario Party's going to do either. I think Mario Party might be just about sold through now.
I don't know, man.
Like,
I don't know. Like at launch, it only did like 2 million, and then it sold another 3 over the next 2 months. I know it was holidays. Obviously, that helps.
yeah.
So it's one of those things that like I don't know. I mean, we'll know at the end of this fiscal quarter because there's no games. So when they do the fiscal year update,
Right.
if it moves from 5 point, so let's say what happens if it moves from 5.3 to 6? It's like okay, just move 700,000 units at a time when no one's buying Switch.
Right. Well, and that's the other thing too is, Switches are installed. Which then does that just mean that no new games are coming out? So,
Are we about to see the best-selling Fire Emblem game ever? Is that going to hit 10?
maybe.
I mean, Fire Emblem games usually are
I
around
sort of
4.
doubt that.
4 million is usually good for a Fire Emblem game, but because it's switched, is it going to just blow it out of the water like it did with
6,
Breath
8,
of the Wild?
10, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, like there's Minecraft. Who knows what Minecraft's at?
Yeah, right.
We gotta get numbers from Microsoft for that. I don't, man. And I'm trying to think like, well, what else could hit 10? I'm like, well, there's probably gonna be another Mario and Zelda before it's all done because they launched basically with the system, so kind of due for one in 2020, 2021, somewhere in there.
We sort of get into the whole speculation on if
is a Mario Kart 9 gonna land?
If that comes for the Switch, that's easily 10.
Oh, that's easily going to be 10. I don't know if it'll do as well as 8 just because it won't have as much time on the market. But, I mean, it'll hit 10. People love 8. People love 8.
Personally, I think 9's coming for whatever follows Switch. I don't think.
I mean,
it could.
it could be a launch game. It would be brilliant as a launch game. They've never even attempted that with Mario Kart. But they have to look at those Mario Kart numbers and be like, God, if we launch a platform with that, what?
That's basically what I'm thinking. One that might be a sleeper title that, personally, I think we're going to see a Splatoon 3 in the Switch life cycle at some point.
I don't know.
Just having Splatoon 2 so early in the launch cycle, it's a title that needs a...
Here's the way you can look at it. It was so early in the launch cycle, right? That could mean the next Switch or whatever it is could launch with Splatoon 3. Can you imagine Splatoon 3 and Mario Kart doubling up at launch?
That'd be nuts.
And then you save either the next 3D Mario or the next 3D Zelda for launch again. So you have your single player game and then 2 massive multiplayer games. I don't think the world's ready for that.
My thinking is you drop Splatoon 3 or maybe a 2.5, like a map pack, sort of as a mid-cycle on the Switch, just to keep that Splatoon audience bought into the game. Because you don't want those people walking away and then trying to get them to pull back to your game, because you might not get them back.
It's funny. They said they were done with content for it, right? Like they were all done. And all of a sudden they just released a few. They just released a few more weapons when they announced the tournament, and I'm just like, you're not done. You thought you were done, but then holidays happened and you're not done. It's too popular. They're trying to make it a full-on esport now, and it's like it's not going to go away. The audience isn't letting it go away, and I think this is key because Nintendo noted that they have like 8 million subscribers to the online service. We finally have some numbers for that. Now that's 8 million accounts, I was told. So, So what that means is if it's a family sub, and that has 8 accounts underneath it, like that can be an addition too. So it might be more than 8 million total people have access, but there's 8 million total subscriptions. So what's interesting about that is Nintendo noted that like the big driver for it was Splatoon and then Smash. So Splatoon's like one of their biggest drivers for online. They can't just, not do something.
So that's why I think there's got to be more content for Splatoon coming in some form before the end of the Switch life cycle. And I honestly, I don't know what it is. But
I know because they just did the Octo expansion.
There's a bunch of maps.
It's so hard to imagine what else they're going to do. They just did the Octo expansion. I mean, another expansion?
There's a bunch of maps from the first game that haven't been ported over yet, and it would be relatively easy to port those in.
It'd be interesting if they brought
$20 DLC label.
Yeah.
And call it like 2.5 or whatever name you want to give it. And just keep those people engaged with some new content.
I almost think they would have to announce they're going to add a new gameplay mode again by the end of the year. Because that'll get people excited.
I don't know if you follow Oatmeal Dome. They've apparently been at least one more of the ranked modes that they've data mined in there that they've seen elements of. And I think there might actually have been 2 along the way, if I remember correctly.
Sure.
So there's definitely been stuff that they've been working on that's not been pushed out there yet. There's definitely content out there. It's just a matter of when they wanted to be dropping it in Splatoon.
I mean, there's just... Nintendo's in a very good place. Let's just put it that way. I don't know how anyone could look at this data and be disappointed. Like, I get undershooting Nintendo's projections, but you have to look at the facts. Okay, last fiscal year, full fiscal year, they sold about 15 million. Some people are confused because the number said 17. That included launch month. Launch month that happened in fiscal year 16-17. So it throws people off because they think they sold 17 million last year. They sold 17 million in 13 months, not 12. So, and that's the weird thing about when they launched it. But why did they do that? They wanted to get those launch figures in that fiscal year data to make investors get excited. So, it was totally a business strategy why they launched it in March in particular. I think they wanted to launch Switch, honestly, holiday 2016, but as Kimishima said back then, like we wanted to make sure that first year lineup was like nothing we've ever
Top
done.
notch.
Like nothing. They've never had a first year lineup like that. So, obviously, it was a good choice.
They might have, if they had launched holiday instead of March, they might have had Breath of the Wild ready, had Mario Kart 8 port ready shortly out the door, but then they probably weren't going to have anything again until like ARMS, which was June, and then Splatoon in July. Like the Splatoon, I think was
it
very-
sounded like, based on the interviews, anyways, I was reading, it sounded like Odyssey was even ready at launch. Like, I guess the original plan was that Odyssey was going to be a launch game,
Mm-hmm.
and Breath of the Wild was going to just be Wii U. But because everything got, once they realized this is our biggest invested game ever, and Wii U's not selling, we're not doing that.
Right.
So then they're like, oh, we got to push Odyssey back. Like, Odyssey, basically by the time we saw Odyssey, supposedly it was just done. But they were like,
Well,
well,
sure, like the
but
story
they-
going around now that Yoshi's been ready since before Christmas.
yeah. I mean, that wouldn't be surprising, though. They didn't need it. They didn't need it around this. They didn't need it for this. If it was ready last summer, sure. But they didn't need it. I mean, they had a major game come out in October, November and December. They didn't need it for that time period. It's a little surprising they didn't drop it in February, and we're waiting until March. Especially when April's so packed. Like, if March has a break, well, April's already got a bunch of games.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, there's a trailer that Nintendo dropped today where they're showing Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, and people are thinking it's coming sooner than later now. That could end up being the February game for Switch.
I guess,
Maybe.
but here's my thing. Do you rely on an old port? I mean, it's not even like a remaster. It's just straight up Final Fantasy VII from PlayStation. Granted, Final Fantasy VII Remastered might never even come back, but that's a story for another time.
Yeah. I did look at Minecraft sales numbers.
Mhm.
Looked like at that time of sales, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe was at 13, so this is a little bit old.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, Minecraft was 1.89, so we're probably looking 2, I'm guessing, if I had
Sure.
to stretch it out to maybe 2.25.
And that makes sense. And Minecraft's like that game that just sells the entire generation. Like, it's just
Right.
the fact that it's even at 2. How old is that game
Yeah,
now?
2 million. 2018. Yeah, I don't know.
I
I don't
mean,
know exactly how old it is. But
Minecraft's been around for like a decade.
well, right. But the Switch version. Is,
Yeah, the Switch version's been around since. God, I don't even know when it released.
I don't know, but I read something funny on the Minecraft Switch version
Oh,
has
wait.
sold more in 2 months than the Wii U version did in 9
Yeah, no,
months.
it came out very early Switch life cycle. I remember now. It was one of the. It was the major game for like April or something.
Yeah.
Or no, March. It was the major game for March of 2017. So they went. Obviously Breath of the Wild. Then they went Mario Kart. Then they went Minecraft.
Yeah.
And I remember that because I remember covering it back then because they were porting a bunch of the Wii U stuff. It's basically the Wii U version. It doesn't matter. Minecraft's basically the same
Well, yeah.
on everything, anyways.
Yeah, but it sold more in 2 months on the
course it
Switch
did.
than it did in 9 months
Again.
on the Wii U. Again, yeah. Right.
Something about
Did
Switch.
they go back and overhaul Minecraft completely on the Switch to change it from the Wii U port to more of like the Xbox one?
It's
like the whole
possible.
Bedrock
I don't
engine?
remember exactly what they've
No,
all done.
I'm not a Minecraft expert.
No,
so somebody can correct me.
back when it launched, it was basically the Wii U version. They might have done something with it since because they had that Better Together update come out.
Yeah, I think the Better Together is when what they call the Bedrock engine, I think is what they call it in Minecraft.
Yeah,
So it would be the same as what the Xbox and the PC are running.
yeah. So if I remember right, the only major difference, besides obviously not having all of the content packs, is just that they have a lower draw distance, so the worlds aren't as big. But I mean, obviously, when you play it on your phone, the worlds aren't as big either. That's just Minecraft. Minecraft is infinitely scalable depending on your device, basically. Anyways, so those numbers are like here's the bottom line. Sold 15 million last year, on pace to sell 17 million this fiscal year. That's an increase year over year. All Switch continues to do, even in a year where 2018, then most of us can admit there wasn't a lot of system sellers until the third quarter. Like, it basically, all three of the best-selling games, actually, now that I look at the data, all three of the best-selling games from this fiscal year all landed in October, November, and March, or October, November, December. Like this data, these numbers, these are like for the year.
Yeah.
I guess Mario Kart 8 Deluxe technically sold more overall for the fiscal year, but not by a lot.
Yeah, I think Mario Kart Deluxe outsold Super Mario Party by a little bit. I'd have to
Yeah,
go back
500,000 units. Yep.
And
But
check numbers for
it was
fiscal
also
year,
out, like it was out the entire time. So
but it also got that major Black Friday push though, where it was basically buy the Switch hardware and get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for free.
yeah, they had a bundle. They had a bundle. So yeah, I don't. The bottom line is that was a 2017 game, and they had nothing else that was selling in 2018 that really, really well. Anyways, like a system mover until the end of the year. So it's just all things considered, I don't know how you can be disappointed if you're someone who's looking forward to the future of the Switch. They already have 7 major exclusives announced for 2019. We're only getting one of them before the end of this fiscal year, so there's 6 more coming over the 9 months out of the rest of the 2019. There's 6 more landing, and that's just what we know. So it feels like 2017 all over again coming up real quick.
Yeah, possible.
But we'll see. We'll see, because obviously some people are like, oh, it can never match Zelda, Splatoon, Mario Kart, and, but I'm like, I get it. I get what you're saying, but, man, Animal Crossing's a big deal.
Yeah.
Pokemon Gen 8's always been one of the biggest deals.
Pokemon, yeah.
I mean, we're not talking Let's Go. We're talking the game that all Pokemon fans are hyped for, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man. I mean, Fire Emblem usually does really solid now ever since Awakening came out. I mean, I don't know, man. I think they're set up pretty well. I mean, there's some wild card. We don't know what Daemon X Machina is going to do. Is that going to become a million seller?
The Marvel titles should be
Marvel
huge
Ultimate
too.
Alliance 3, yeah, that's another one. It's like, we don't know. But all we know is there's a lot of really good games coming. A lot of them. When Animal Crossing lands, in fact, there's a rumor release date for Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Corey, what's that release date? Do you know it? Remember it off the top of your head?
The one that we were seeing is April 29th. It's apparently coming out of some of the EU retail stores.
Yeah, so Game UK is where, I guess, based on the article I read anyways, that is where the date originated from. And then some people in the US reportedly, this is just from Twitter, random people on Twitter, went to their GameStop to double check the date by putting a pre-order down on it, because not everyone has a pre-order, and the pre-order date on their thing shows April 29th. And as interesting as that sounds, it's a Monday. Nintendo doesn't release games on Mondays. If you know anything about Nintendo, Monday is not one of their release days. It's always Tuesday, Friday. So it's a placeholder. It's just a placeholder. I can't imagine it's coming from retailers. At first when I saw the news, I'm like, wait, this came off the eShop. Like the UK eShop. Someone got it off that. Like someone accidentally put it up. That's legit. That actually happened with Yoshi's Crafted World when the title was unveiled. Mm-hmm. Someone on the North American eShop that works at Nintendo accidentally put the data up where it would appear down in the recommended area.
Yeah. Whoops.
It's like, it's called Yoshi's Crafted World.
Ah. Whoops.
So like that's why I'm like, well, if it comes from that, it's totally legit. But it didn't. It came from a retailer. Retailers put up placeholder dates. It is interesting that Game and GameStop have the same placeholder date. Maybe they presume it's coming at some point in April, but. All I know is we're due for a direct at some point here. You would figure there's got to be a direct coming in the next month. So
yeah, that was one of the things that came out of the financial briefing today, is that somebody specifically asked if Nintendo was still going to be doing directs or if they were just going to be pushing stuff on Twitter and other social media, and Nintendo specifically said that directs are still going to be a happening thing.
Yeah, people are just impatient.
No.
Because, it was like 5 of the last 6 years or whatever that there was a direct in January. We're obviously not, didn't get a direct in January, so, it's going to be in February. Some people are even speculating February 7th. The funny thing is,
still got an hour.
Funny thing is,
It's going to be tomorrow.
The funny thing is about that is, last week, if you check the receipts, last week we did when do we think the Nintendo Direct's coming? Eric said it was going to come right before the financial thing.
No, I said it after.
You said during January.
No, I could swear I said afterwards.
Check the receipts.
No,
I know you said January.
Pretty sure it was afterwards. Andrew said it was coming before.
I said February 7th. So it lands on February 7th. By the way, I had no insider information on that. I just said a week after the investors meeting. I could see that, especially if they know there might be some disappointing news, like the 17 million to the 20.
Huh?
They could actually probably.
But I mean, it's just because there's so many games coming that we know nothing about. Feels like we're due one, but. Whatever, we're not. Nintendo doesn't have to give us Nintendo. We just got so used to having them. I don't know. Anyways, plus there's kind of been a lack of news lately. If I'm being honest, yeah, we're getting sales data, but besides that, like actual game announcements and new news, like the only game announcement that happened was accidental. It was probably part of the next direct when THQ accidentally leaked that Darksiders War Mastered is coming to Switch.
Whoops.
Like, that was probably a direct announcement, and they had the trailer uploaded.
That for the direct.
Yeah, somebody accidentally hit publish on the trailer, and then they quickly deleted it, but it's the internet, so you're done. It's coming to Switch. We don't know when, but it's coming to Switch. And it's like, yeah, that game came out back in 2016 on PlayStation 4 or whatever. Like, whatever. It's it's a nice announcement. Another port. That was probably a direct announcement, but what are you gonna? I think it's already out there. They might as well just fully release the trailer. The trailer's already out there, but
Nah.
I'm sure they have like a contract with Nintendo where they weren't supposed to say anything until the direct, and they kind of screwed it up. Someone screwed it up. Someone got fired. Anyways, so I guess
I'm thinking,
is there anything else you want to say about the sales data? I think, Corey, you tell me you have some projections you wanted to
so
talk
one
about.
projection that we haven't touched on is I did a little bit of crunching. I went back and I looked at the attach rate of Smash on the Wii and the 3DS and noticed it was sitting at pretty much 13% on both of those. And if you sort of extrapolate out the current Smash sales on the Switch to what it might mean for lifetime sales of the Switch, that would be sitting about 94 million. And my gut feel was that Switch is probably going to sell similar to the Wii, which is 100 million.
Okay. I mean, it's hard to argue. It's ahead of the Wii pace right now. I mean, I don't know if it's going to stay ahead of it, but it hasn't hit. I mean, 22 months into Wii wasn't peak yet, so peak was the following year. So I mean, we'll see. Peak was crazy. It was like 30 million. So I don't know that anyone thinks Switch is going to nail 30 million this next fiscal year. But man, I mean, so you think Wii's going to sell over 100 million, or at least, or Switch is going to sell like 100 million? What was your projection for Smash then with the number crunching?
Well, I looked at Smash's where it's at right now and sort of did it the 13% sort of like the attach rate.
Yeah.
What would that mean in terms of hardware? And it would be about 94 million. And we know Smash is going to be selling more. So it's going to cost 100 million would be sort of the estimate. I honestly, I was joking around on OJ's stream earlier in the day, and I was saying that Smash, I was thinking might do 15, and he was like, it's going to do more than that.
Oh yeah, it's going to do more than 15. That's no doubt there. I mean, my thing is, like, obviously, it's going to have a higher than 13% attach rate because that right now would almost be 100 million. Right now, without it selling any more copies, it would be 12%.
Yeah.
So, like, it's obviously going to be higher than 13%. That's the thing. You start thinking, okay, if it's going to be 100 million seller, the Switch, or close to it, Smash Bros. Is at 12 now. It wouldn't be crazy, I don't think, to see it at 15 by the end of this fiscal quarter. So I don't think that's so crazy. They have the Piranha Plant DLC coming out, or it's already out, I should say. And then they also have Persona coming out at some point here. Joker from Persona. So I think that's going to drive some hype as well for people that may be waiting for those DLC characters first. And it's an evergreen title. Smash has always been an evergreen title. So that, I mean, it's hard for me to even think of a number on it. Like, I think it's going to cross 20 for sure. I mean, they only had one holiday. I mean, it's got a whole other holiday next year when Switch might be cheaper. So, like,
or if they come out with a new Switch,
that too. I think it's going to cross 20. My question is, do I really think it's going to get to 30 lifetime over the next, 3-4 years? I don't know.
Is your gut feel that's going to pass Mario Kart 8?
Yeah. Yes. I don't know if it'll pass it this. It won't pass it this fiscal year. I don't think. I mean, it might come close, but I don't think so. Because I think Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still might sell another 500,000 or so this quarter. The
general trend on Mario Kart 8 is it seems to move just over 1 million every quarter.
Yes, I know, but I think it's going to slow down a bit, right? I know it feels weird to say that, but I honestly think it's going to slow down. Which means it's going to exceed my expectation, which is fine. You think Nintendo's being conservative. Look at me. So I don't think it's going to pass it this fiscal quarter, but I think it's so hard to know because is Mario Kart 8 really still going to be banging next holiday compared to some? I don't know. I don't know. We're in uncharted territory. I don't know. They're both going to be the best selling in their series history. I don't know. Smash isn't supposed to do this well. Smash has never done this well. Smash is selling like it's GTA 5 right now, and I can't. Like GTA 5 has sold like 80 million copies across multiple platforms. It's hard for me to even fathom a Nintendo game that isn't Wii Sports selling like this. That's why I'm like 30 million. Is that even like fair? Is it gonna crush that? I don't know. Mario Kart 8 could end up at 30 million.
Well, and the thing is too is that that's saying that, that Nintendo doesn't come out with something for Mario Kart 8.
Well, and here's the thing. So we're going to be
Something
talking about a rumor about a Switch Mini or whatever, and the thing is, if that thing's real, and it's $200 next holiday, that's going to add in a whole new audience of people who are going to go back and pick up Mario Kart 8, pick up Smash, pick up Zelda. Like, it's just going to boost sales again.
Yeah.
Because you're hitting on a whole new demographic at that point. Now you're starting to get to kids in the playground are walking around with these bad boys now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, Nintendo's game plan is, like, it's funny, too, because everyone's been talking about the Switch Pro. And if Nintendo's like, we got Pokemon coming, we're going Switch Mini. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to get in even more help. We're getting in the kids' hands. We're getting everywhere now.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are all worried about competing with PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, whatever. Like, we're going to just compete with ourselves, and they can go play the power game for $500. Like, people are going to see $200 with Mario Kart, Zelda, Mario Odyssey, Animal Crossing, and they're just going to pick that bad boy up. Because guess what? 3DS didn't have a problem competing despite being underpowered to the Vita. So it's like...
Watch them do the packet of Mario Kart 8 on the Switch Mini just to push those numbers through the roof.
I mean, there's probably going to be a pack-in like that, I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure, wasn't Mario Kart the pack-in for the 2DS, like the tablet one for a while?
Yeah, they did Ocarina of Time and Mario Kart, I think, were the first two pack-ins. They had that at launch of the 2DS. And then they've done other pack-ins now since, but...
Mario Kart is one of their go-to pack-ins, it seems.
Well, because everyone likes Mario Kart. I don't know anyone that's just like, I hate Mario Kart. Like, everyone likes Mario Kart. It might not be a game everyone buys, but when people play it, you're hard-pressed to ask them, well, did you hate that game? Well, no, it's fun.
Well, until you get on 200cc and you're like...
I love 200cc. I love 200cc. A lot of people don't, but I like 200cc. Just because it's so crazy.
Right.
It even ekes the best of the best players, and that's what makes it fun to me, because if I play on 50cc, everyone's a god.
Pretty much.
So you play on 150cc, and then it's all about who's the best drifter, who's the best at taking the shortcuts, who cuts the corners the best, who could shorten the track the best. You can come out combination with the right character and the right wheels and stuff. Like, I get it. Like, cool, that's super highly skillful. At 200cc, it feels like none of it matters. Throw it all out the window. It's just crazy. And the professional people hate it because it's so hard to be skilled at it because you actually have to use the brake.
It's whoever RNGesus decides to hate the least that day.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's why I love it, because I think it just re-evens the playing field, and I don't have to play at a snail's pace to do that. But that's just me. A lot of people get mad when I do those 200cc tournaments. They're like, "Why?" I'm like, because it's crazy. It's crazy, and it's awesome, and I love watching people that are way better at Mario Kart than me fly off the stage. It is hilarious. Yeah. I thought it was only me. Nope, everyone's flying off. Rainbow Road, everyone's flying off 200cc. Oh, man, my angle was only off by half a degree, and now you're flying off the road. Have fun.
Bye.
But yeah, is there anything else we want to touch upon in the sales data before we start talking about the rumors?
Sales? I'm just trying to think if there's anything else.
Because,
the one thing I was going to say is we're talking a touch on if Smash just get past Mario Kart. Having spent the last year watching Mario Kart and Odyssey, it's not so much on how much Smash sells and how much Mario Kart sells. It's getting the difference between the two.
Yeah.
And Mario Kart and Odyssey, that difference was very small, and I got a feeling Smash might run into that. The next quarter, we're probably going to get some of that Christmas spillover with people cashing in all the gift cards to buy Smash. But once we get sort of into the first quarter of the new fiscal year, April to June, I think we're going to see Smash slow down to about the same pace as Mario Kart. Just a gut feel, but
yeah, I mean, it's hard to know because, when Animal Crossing hits, right? Like, okay, a bunch of new Switch owners are going to come in. What's their second and third game they're buying? Statistically, it says they're buying Smash and Mario Kart and Zelda. Those are the next 3 games. And Mario Odyssey. Next 4 games.
Or Pikachu.
Let's go Pikachu. Yeah. So, like, it's a question of, among those, 5 games, what are those next games they buy? And is Smash now there? Basically, almost everyone buys Mario Kart, it seems like, at this point. So is Smash at that level where everyone's just going to buy Smash? Every new consumer in the future. Is every 1 out of 3 going to buy Smash? Don't know. I mean, we don't know.
Saying.
We're in uncharted territory. I mean, the bottom line is we just don't know. Because we've never seen a Smash game do this. Ever. Everyone's like, well, of course it did this because it's the ultimate version. I'm like, if anyone told me that they seriously thought Smash Bros. Was going to sell 12 million in 3 weeks,
Yeah, no.
I have to seriously check their brain.
Yeah.
Smash Bros. Has never done anything like this, even on the most popular system of all time. Like, this is unheard of.
I think
No
I
no
think
exclusive
even
in history has done this.
I think even the most optimist people, with you said how much does Smash you sell? I think they were still even blown away that it sold 12 million.
I mean, I think I saw one person say 10, and I'm like, that's a lot. In 3 weeks, and outside of the Black Friday, I don't know,
Right.
that's a lot. I mean, if it released at the time that Pokemon did, and with all the hype, yeah, okay, maybe 10, but like, nope, half
Yeah,
that
no.
time outside of that period,
Yeah,
It's like-
12. Hooray.
it's sold in a month when usually games have a hard time selling. And it not only sold in a month when games have a hard time selling, it sold better than any exclusive in the history of video games.
Whoops.
One thing you're saying is sold in the month that games traditionally have a hard time selling in. You got to keep in mind too. It had that hardware bundle that came out in November that included the digital.
Yeah, I
code.
know. Yeah, I know. And all those sales actually
I don't
count
know how
towards
many
day
of
one.
those were counted there, but that might be a little bit of
All
a factor.
digital sales count towards day one. So even the digital codes, they all count towards day one. That's how Nintendo does it. So even if you pre-ordered it or paid it or bought the bundle, day one when it goes active is when they count the sale in their numbers.
So that did give it a slight edge, but I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
even
that
then, there wasn't
made it
like millions and millions and millions of those bundles out there.
Mhm.
I mean, it was a limited time bundle, and it was sold out pretty much the moment it was announced. So, and a lot
That's
of them
why
are
we gotta
probably
enter
still in
your giveaway.
scalpers' hands.
I said that's why we got to enter your giveaway so we can try and win one.
That's right. I've not seen anyone with it. I've seen probably 100 different Switches out in the wild over the last month, and I have not seen one person with one. That's the Smash one, because there wasn't a lot of them, and the scalpers bought a ton of them up. So I don't know. That's it. We just don't know. We're in uncharted territory when it comes to Smash. We're in uncharted territory with pretty much every game we talked about. So making projections at this point is just like, well, how well is it doing now? How well do we think it's going to keep doing this well? Do we think Mario Kart's going to keep selling 1 million every quarter? I don't know. Maybe.
Mhm.
Is there any reason to think it's not going to? I don't know. It slows down eventually, right? It has to.
Oh,
It's not just going to sell 1 million every quarter forever.
one thing that says it's probably going to be selling 1 million for a while is supposedly Mario Kart on Wii is still selling new titles.
Well, yeah. But it's not selling the same amount it was selling back then.
But still,
Yeah, right.
that should have stopped selling it altogether a long time ago.
That's nuts.
Nah, I mean, they still make Just Dance for Wii. Come on.
Oh.
People, there's plenty of people that still have those old Wiis they dust
And
off here and there.
Again, though, too, do we think that they're fully done developing for Mario Kart Deluxe?
I mean, they've done nothing since launch besides Breath of the Wild costumes.
Right.
They also did the Labo controllers for.
Well, yeah,
Mario
they
Kart.
did the Labo thing, but I mean, that made sense because it didn't really change how it's played. They just let you put it in a piece of cardboard now.
Mhm.
You could just get the wheel, and it's the same thing.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, it is
Well, they
like
could
how
drop
it
more
could.
content.
What?
I'm saying it's one they could drop more content in. Like they could do another track pack of sorts.
I think they're just making Mario Kart 9. I don't think they're even thinking about this game. They're just like, let this thing keep soaking up sales. We're not going to release Mario Kart 9 until it stops selling.
There's
And if Mario Kart 9, like, you gotta remember, the team that made Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the team that made ARMS. ARMS is not in active development for anything right now.
Mhm.
So that team is probably back making the next Mario Kart.
Mhm.
And the next Mario Kart game, I mean, they're probably, I'd say by 2020 already have it ready. But they're not going to release it till Mario Kart 8 Deluxe actually slows down. And at that point, it could be, again, a launch game for the next system or something. So, because I mean, you're not going to release it. I mean, I guess they could be unprecedented and release it while Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling 1 million per quarter. That would be insane. But, because whenever they do release it, regardless of what platform it's on, it's hard to imagine it's not going to blow up. I don't know if, again, Will it do these kind of numbers? I don't know. I can't project anything anymore. I think I'm just going to quit projections.
The one projection I have though is in terms of Mario Kart 9 is if it comes to Switch as a mid-cycle title, I don't think they're getting Mario Kart 10 out in time for a launch of the new hardware. So there's
Mario Kart wouldn't be a launch game for the new hardware. It would be it would be a killer like 2 years in kind of game. Mm-hmm. It would be their Let's Go or their Smash Bros. Mm-hmm. Basically, the way I would view that one. They would have to have something else ready for launch, and I'm sure Zelda or Mario will probably be ready to go again.
But seeing what Mario Kart 8 did off the launch on the Switch, it's probably tempting to push Mario Kart 9 as a launch title.
It's going to be very tempting. So they're just like, look at this. Like, how do we not make it a launch? It basically was a pseudo-launch game. Like, how do we not do that?
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't even.
But then again, it's like, yeah, but Breath of the Wild is the best-selling Zelda ever. How do we not make the next Zelda game a launch game?
Yeah. There's that.
Well, because you're supposed to release one every 3 years. Who says who? The last 2 3D Zelda games were every 5.
There's that.
All right. Let's get into the last little bit. We don't need to spend a whole lot of time talking about it, only because there's basically 2 rumors floating out there. They both come from Nikkei, a Japanese publication who has a pretty good track record with their Nintendo rumors in particular. They obviously reach out for Nintendo for comment. Nintendo did not deny or verify anything. Mm-hmm. Basically, the biggest one is obviously the Switch Mini. Apparently, it's done. It's ready to go. It is a smaller form factor of Switch, of course, and they said it'll be cutting out some features to get the price down. They don't tell you what those features are, so detachable Joy-Cons, maybe that's gone. Maybe the IR camera's gone. Who knows? Maybe they don't even have HD Rumble and they put standard Rumble. I have no idea. But the idea is it's supposed to be it's supposed to be a cutback version of Switch that's smaller, so more portable. I guess more pocketable would be the idea.
Yeah. Basically portable only.
And they don't say for sure it's coming out in 2019, but it says it has a chance to come out in 2019 in time for Pokemon. Which again only makes sense to me because the Pokemon company themselves said Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu Let's Go Eevee was made for TV, and Gen 8's made for portable. So I could see how Nintendo might be thinking we got to pair this with Pokemon. But again,
that might be huge.
Yeah, especially if it's $200.
Yeah.
One thing I looked at, I played the Switch in handheld mode, and I go, this thing, it feels small. Like especially the controller side.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't want a Switch Mini. I don't care about a Switch Mini. I have no desire to own a Switch Mini besides for comparison's sake. Mm-hmm. But it's not. I'm not the target audience. It's my kids that are the target audience.
Yeah,
they have smaller hands.
That's one of the things I realized that I grabbed the 3DS XL that I have around. Mm-hmm. I was sort of comparing it in terms of the screen size, and if you look at the sort of border or the bezel around the Switch screen, and if you sort of trim that out, like a lot of phones now, they have like the sort of almost zero border on them.
Yeah.
So the screens are out there in the market. If you did that, you would get down to about the same size as like the base of a 3DS. A little bit wider, obviously, because the screen's bigger, but they might even shrink the screen a little bit. So you're probably looking at something like the base of a 3DS, which is the part you hold in your hand. So that's something that people are used to having in their hand. So it's like maybe there is something to this rumor of a smaller Switch.
I mean, again, it's not for me, but like, I mean, it's hard to argue with a $200 Switch that basically, and this is what we talked about earlier, 3DS sales are kind of like, even Nintendo said it's declining faster than we thought. That might make them want to get a Switch Mini out even more. Mm-hmm. Because, fine, 3DS is dying, we need to replace that $200 price point. Yep. Boom, Switch Mini.
Yeah.
Done deal. Yeah, it doesn't play all the... Well, I mean, the question is obviously certain game, like I'm sure Sure, it'll still have Bluetooth, so you'll be able to sync other Joy-Cons to it if you want. The question, obviously, is docked mode. Can it fit in the current dock? Probably not, because you'd be bringing the controllers closer together, and that's going to interfere, especially if it has, actual thumbsticks.
Does it even have a dock mode?
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I don't think it has it in the box, but I do think what Nintendo will do is release a accessory for like $50. That's like they call it a portable dock.
Yeah.
The thing we keep buying third-party accessories to do. Nintendo will finally give us an official one for $50 that you can optionally buy for your Mini.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Well,
80.
one
but
thing that
Because it'll still
One
be
thing
it'll
we
still use
talk about-
USB-C.
Yeah.
It's still going to use that for charge. So
one thing we often talk about though is sort of doing a bit of a hardware revision to get some of those AAA games and have a bit of a faster processor. On the Switch Mini, we might go the other way and get a little bit newer processor that's not quite as powerful, but only sort of cap it at the 720p that we get it in handheld mode, as opposed to the 1080
I don't know.
for our TV.
I have no idea.
Gain a little bit of battery efficiency.
I don't know.
That's kind of.
I mean, we have no idea. That's
was
what, I
reading-
mean, if it doesn't
It's
support dock mode at all, I think it would be a little shocking. Not to not have it packed in. I think everyone, if it's $200, I don't think anyone expects it packed in. But it's like, but it's called a Switch that doesn't switch. Granted, 3DS, 2DS that doesn't do 3D,
3DS.
but like 3D was always optional.
Yeah.
It wasn't considered a core feature. It was what they used to advertise the product, but like you don't need it for like any of the games. Not even like the AR games they have in there. You don't have to have 3D on to enjoy those.
Right. No, I know from like what I was reading in some of the articles that I looked at, it sounded like it was going to be just basically a portable only with a basically thinner, trying to shrink the size a little bit,
Yeah.
and then improve battery life.
Yeah. Well, of course it would do that. Just removing some of the features alone, like the IR camera and everything else, would improve battery life. A smaller screen would improve battery life. It also depends on if they have to shrink the battery at all. There's a lot that depends. Like I think a Switch Mini probably gets rid of the fan, and that's the big thing. Is without a fan, is there adequate cooling to really do true dock mode? Or if it does support some sort of pseudo dock mode, is it just what it does in handheld but on a big screen? Or does it not do it at all? And if it doesn't do it at all, I don't think it's going to hurt the sales of it per se, because people are just going to play it in handheld only.
Yeah.
And they'll just say, well, if you want dock mode, buy the big boy. I think the one issue you'll run into is what happens to the base Switch. Yeah, it might get price dropped next holiday to $250, who knows. But usually when there is a cheaper model that's basically the same, the cheaper model just cannibalizes the other one.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
But that's also why the counter argument exists. Well, yeah, but maybe they could announce a Switch Pro for 2020, and then that kind of counterbalances. Like, well, yeah, look, like we know, but the Switch Mini's great, and it'll have all the games Switch Pro gets, but like we're still going to make sure that TV market gets their powerful handheld that they can play on their TV too.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, this is all really hypothetical because we don't know. It's all rumors and speculation.
Right.
The other rumor that I don't think we need to talk too much about, just because
I just giggle at this one.
we don't know much. Basically, it's the way that I have it here from Nintendo Everything apparently was wrong. Basically, Nintendo Everything says, the Switch's monthly online service that launched in 2018, a plan to launch a new service aimed at game enthusiasts willing to pay more sometime in 2019. Since then, a bunch of other people that are way more fluent in Japanese than me have gone and been like, it's not a new service. It's the same service. It doesn't reference a new service. What it does say, though, is that it is targeting core gamers and basically big spenders. That made people automatically assume microtransactions of some type if you're targeting big spenders.
Mm-hmm.
Or are they going to... I mean,
Price.
Well, my thing is, think about it. Okay, if you're a big spender and you bought the Nintendo Switch Online service, then you probably bought those NES controllers.
Probably.
So I'm thinking, what if those NES controllers, those special deals they're talking about, they never plan to give us game discounts or anything like anyone else does. They're just going to add more merchandise to buy.
Oh, probably.
And that's how they're going to target big spenders. Oh, you want all those cool Club Nintendo things? You can buy them.
Yeah.
If you're a Nintendo Online service member only. You can't get it at our store. You can only buy it through the service. I wonder if that's what they're going to do with the big spender.
Mm-hmm.
And that's supposed to be an added value, apparently.
What
Give us
about those
money to give us
controller
money.
icons?
What?
The Super Nintendo controller icons that were data mined
Yep.
on the Switch back before the NES ones were even announced.
Well, yeah, there's going to be
That'd be
SNES. There's going to be
Nice
SNES
cash
controllers.
grabs.
Yeah, they're going to be SNES controllers. If they ever bring N64, they'll be N64 controllers. Like they're going to keep doing that for all the platforms they bring out because I'm sure the NES one sold well.
Mm-hmm. They're cool.
I just like I'm not as a core gamer. I don't care about that.
No, I know.
So like core gamer feature like what am I supposed to expect? Finally, gonna have native voice chat or messaging?
No.
Probably not.
Why would they do
Like
that?
nothing about the service really appeals to core gamers beyond we have to have it to play the game we want to play online.
Pretty much.
So I'm very curious what it means. To be fair, Nintendo, Furukawa didn't address this rumor in particular, but he did say they are planning to add more features to the online service. He said that at the investors meeting throughout the year. So there'll be more features coming. We just don't know what those are. But the rumor is basically more things to spend money on, whatever those things are. Maybe who knows? It could be a positive. People want themes. It could be like that. Maybe you buy small papers or something. I don't know. But they did that on 3DS.
How about some nice anti-cheat systems? I don't know if you've heard about the Splatoon ones where they're basically storing all your online data on your local system.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, there may be some similar shenanigans going on with Smash.
I'm sure
I
there
don't
is.
think they've quite gotten into hacking it yet and impacting online play, but apparently
That's not a
it sounded like
surprise.
it might be possible.
That's not a surprise. I'm not shocked at all. I mean, what am I supposed to be shocked that Nintendo doesn't learn from their own mistakes? Because they're like, because here's what Nintendo does, right? They're like, look, it's cheaper for us not to store it on our side and make the consumer store it because then we don't have to maintain a server for storing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we already have to store a backup anyways. So why do we want to have even
And
more
not for
stored?
Splatoon.
I know. So why do we want to have more stored? We can have all that data stored on their Switch, and the games are still going to sell tens of millions of copies. So why do we care? Oh, some hackers are going to come along. Oh, we'll just patch things along the way. Who cares about the end user experience?
Yeah, no.
Because it's still going to sell. Oh, guess what? They did the same thing with Splatoon. They didn't fix it with Splatoon 2, and Splatoon 2 almost doubled the sales. If they're doing it with Smash, guess what? It's the best-selling Smash of all time. So, like, they don't care. They don't honestly care because it's saving them. They're penny pinching and still selling millions. What do you? I mean, here it is. Here's what the future will be. Oh, you want to store your data, online instead of locally for these multiplayer games, so they're it's more secure and you don't have to worry about hacking. Oh, you don't need to worry about it online because if it's part of the online service, we'll do that for you. They make it so it stores locally if you don't have online, which I guess it makes sense. You're not playing online anyways.
Yeah.
But if you have the online service, then we'll store your stuff online. So now you're just paying for the privilege of people not being able to cheat. Cheat as much, anyways. I mean, don't be wrong. I guess I would be okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, I have the service, so I guess it'd be nice for my Splatoon 2 data to not be on my dang Switch. And apparently my Smash data, too.
Yeah.
Oh boy! So there's not really much else to say about what these services are or what improvements there's going to be because we don't know anything. The rumor doesn't really tell us anything. The rumor just mentions something to spend money on.
Something new is coming.
Something new's coming. Something to spend money on. Which of course we know there's more controllers. I'm sure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't really have much to say on it because I think we need a little bit more information. But it was kind of tag teamed with the Switch Mini rumor. That I don't really care if the Switch Mini rumor is true, but I honestly think. If it is true, my projections are going to be way off. I projected 24 million for the next fiscal year for Switches. That was not counting a Switch Mini landing when Pokemon does in the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
I think if we step back from if it's a Switch Mini or Switch Pro or what's going on, there's so much information out there flying around. There's got to be some sort of Switch revision.
Well, there's
What
something.
shape and form?
Nintendo has a history of revision. So, like, there's something. I mean, we had a Wii Mini. We had the DSi. We had the 3DS XL.
The 2DS
and the 2DS, the new Nintendo 2DS. We had Game Boy Advance, and we had the Game Boy SP, and the Game Boy Micro. All their handhelds have basically had revisions. Game Boy went to Game Boy Color. Oh, it went Game Boy Pocket, Game Boy Color. So all their handhelds have always had revisions, going all the way back to the OG. And even like console-wise, like there was actually revisions of some of their consoles as well that we just didn't get in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So
even the GameCube had one that we did get where it dropped some of the digital outs.
yeah. It's so like there's something coming because Nintendo's always done it. There's no reason to think they're going to stop now. They didn't, they did it on all their popular systems, and it actually helped the sales maintain longer. If they would have did a better job with the Wii's one and did a Wii HD, I think Wii would have lasted longer too. But they went a totally different route and decided to cut out Wi-Fi and make a smaller box, which I don't really know what they were thinking there. I guess it looked cool. The black and red scheme was kind of cool looking. Unfortunately, cuts out half the functionality of the system, but.
Oh, Nintendo.
Oh, we made it for cabins. Cabins these days have internet, man.
No, Nintendo.
Like, name a big cabin that someone's going to put that in the middle of the woods that doesn't at least have a satellite internet coming in. They have some sort of connection to the outside world because they're out in the middle of nowhere. They want to make sure they don't die. They have electricity out there.
Yeah.
If they're playing the dang thing, they have electricity. So, it might be propane electricity, but anyways, I guess that's going to do it for the Nintendo Prime Podcast.
Yeah.
Episode 96.
Yeah.
Awesome. Corey, do you want people following you anywhere?
That's fine. If they want to find me.
Just show up to my live streams. He's always there.
There you go.
Come to the Discord server. Link down in the description.
Sure.
What?
And you don't even have to be a Patreon member. We got the
yeah, we have a public chat. Yep. And if you are a Patreon member, you get access to a bunch of rooms, including rooms I'm way more active in because I'm not that active in the public chat. And if you do become a patron for like $1, I actually answer you when you DM me. Because now that we have a public chat, more people DM me, and I'm just like, I appreciate you contacting me, but I'm really busy.
Mm-hmm.
But when Corey DMs me because he's a patron, I'm like, I got you.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. And it's not to be insulting. It's just I get a lot more messages. Like you when you see me on Discord, you'll notice I'm set to away a lot. And it's not that I'm actually away. I just don't need 70 people DMing me a day. It gets old in a hurry, let me tell you. I'm just one person. I wish I had enough time for everyone, but come to our live streams. I gladly converse with all the public at the live streams. That's always been my thing with live streams. So that's a great way, come to our Q&As and stuff like that. Or the random stream I get with Eric where a betting special happens and he gets pied in the face.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or I end up doing 3 tequila shots and puking.
Yeah, there's that too.
So I think they both sucked for me because I had to clean up, ruined my green screen basically at the time.
Yeah.
All the pie did.
Yeah.
Anyways, follow us on patreon.com. You could check out the podcast on iTunes. Where else, Eric? Let's see if you know all the spots.
Oh, good God.
It's been 96 episodes now. You should know this by now.
Oh, good God.
Where can they find the podcast?
Yeah, I know. Oh, you said, what, Podbean already?
No, I did not.
No, Podbean.
Okay.
So iTunes, Podbean, Google Play.
Yeah, through the Google Podcast app.
The Google Podcast app. NintendoPrime.net.
So it'd be funny if you forgot that one.
All of them. Yeah, well, it'd just be par for the course because you always seem to forget that one.
But you always remember.
I know. That's because I update it.
Yeah, true.
I think that's it.
Oh, no, there's more.
Google search Nintendo Prime Podcast. You'll probably find it somewhere.
Well, YouTube, obviously. But besides YouTube,
yeah.
because I'm assuming that's where a lot of you guys are watching right now. Patreon.
Yeah.
Patreon.com/Nintendo Prime. $5 a month, you get audio version early. $10 a month, you get to watch the recording of it. I call it a recording. It's live streamed to you, but I call it a recording because I'm not responding to the live chat. And I know sometimes, to some people's chagrin, when Edward Norton chimes in.
Yeah.
I will tell you, Edward Norton, if you're watching right now, I do read the comments after the stream is done.
Right.
But I purposely don't respond during it. Because this is technically a pre-recorded show. It's just a Patreon perk that you get to see all of the gaffes.
Right.
Like the dog barking earlier.
Yeah.
They got in.
Yeah.
I think that's it. You can follow me on Patreon at Ninty Prime. Where can they follow you, Eric?
At Emo8790.
Awesome. And Corey, I've currently come to Nintendo Prime and find him.
Yeah.
He's around. He makes himself available. If you ever want to talk data and projections, he's all about that, man.
There you go.
All the time, Corey's asking me
crazy gaming theories.
like every single question, every single conversation I have with him is like, "Well, what do you think this is gonna do?" Or how do you think about? That's like
nothing wrong with that.
He loves it.
There you go.
It's nice to have someone nerd out with numbers.
Yeah, right.
Because people tell me, "Why do you always report on sales data?" Because I like it. If you don't like it, don't watch. I can't help it. More people watch my sales data videos than they watch anything else.
Yeah.
Must be some of my best videos I make. Probably because I'm passionate about sales data.
Oh, there's that too. But,
Except for, it's funny I say that. The most lazily made video I have made over the past year was this fiscal year update.
Yeah.
I literally just took a screenshot of a thread on Reset Era, put it up, and talked over it.
Nice.
No editing.
Nice.
I was a little pressed for time.
Yeah, I know.
And it upset me that, like, the one thing I'm really good at, the most important, one of 4 videos a year that are really important for the sales data,
Right.
and I just, like, went through the motions.
Yeah.
That's what
That's what this podcast is for.
I have this podcast coming.
Right. That's what the podcast is for. To update the sales numbers.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been real. It's been fun. We'll catch you in the next one.
See ya.
Oh, yeah? I got a little paper airplane. It's going to miss.
Yeah.
Oh, literally hit the lens.
Hey!
All right. Giggity, giggity, goo.